Good evening, attendees. Thank you very much for joining us for our Regional Learning Choices programs for middle school, sponsored by the WeRise Community Advisory Group. My name in delivering the presentation this evening is Greg Pearson. I am the coordinating principal with curriculum and instruction and assessment with the Peel District School Board, and I have RLCP responsibilities for both elementary and secondary school. And just very quickly here, give you a proper hello from myself. I know I gave my thumbnail there, but I want to make sure that everyone knows and can see my face tonight, as most of our presentation will be driven from a slide deck that we have tonight. So thank you very much. I'm just going to return back to our slide deck. And I'm going to turn the mic on, camera on for our superintendent to bring greetings from the board and our land acknowledgement. So 1 second, please. There you go, Mr. Hoppy, you are free to start speaking.
Thank you, Greg. Good evening, everybody. My name is Rasslin Q. Hoppy, and I am the Superintendent of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment of the Peel District School Board. It's my pleasure to be able to bring greetings on behalf of the board, and we're very pleased that you were able to join us this evening to participate in our Regional Learning Choices Programs information session hosted by our We Rise Together Community Advisory Council. For our land acknowledgement, we must understand the role treaties play in our lives and relationships with each other today as we move forward together to advance reconciliation. By building understanding, we are advancing reconciliation with Indigenous people to help create equitable and respectful relationships. This evening, we start by acknowledging that we are on the traditional territories of Treaty 13A, 14, 19 of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. We are grateful to the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation as the caretakers of this land, and we recognize the benefits we receive from this land. This land continues to be home for First Nations, Inuit and Métis peoples, many who are students in Peel schools. We thank them and other Indigenous people who have walked before us and shared this land with us.
Thank you very much, Q. Moving back to our presentation. My apologies. Next, we have a parent representative, Danielle Dowding, to bring greetings and opening remarks on behalf of the We Rise Together Community Advisory Council. 1 second, Danielle.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you, and you are now live on the screen, so go ahead.
Perfect, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, parents. So glad that everyone was able to join us today. We are so excited about this event. We know that the Regional Learning Choices programs are such a great opportunity for our children, and we as the We Rise committee really wanted to make sure that this opportunity was brought to members of the Black community. As was mentioned, my name is Danielle Dowdy. I'm a parent with We Rise Together with the Community Advisory Council. And I'm a parent representative for Brampton, which I always say is not really possible because one person can't represent Brampton. But this is the type of work that we do, is engaging parents and, connecting opportunities to our families. And so we're really happy that you could join us, and we are looking forward to this presentation, and thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Danielle. Greatly appreciate your time this evening. Returning back to the content for our presentation. One element to mention, it is available through the emails that were sent out for the invites for this evening session. It will also be posted, if it's not already, on our elementary RLCP page. But if you would like to be on our email distribution list for the We Rise Community Advisory Council, please consider using the form at the URL that's provided on the screen currently. That would allow us to collect a database that we can email out about important events and things such as the presentation this evening. So we will be getting the link out to you throughout the evening at the end as well. The whole presentation will be shared with you. So this is something that you can do after the presentation as well. So thank you very much. One important item, some of you, as I notice, have already discovered how our Q&A session works tonight inside our live Teams event. In the top right corner of your screen, in a very similar fashion to what you see here, depends, color will be a little bit different depending on your setup and everything that way. You would see an icon with a question mark and a speech dialog box. That is where you can ask questions this evening. And then I have on the call with us Brittany Alex from our communications department. She'll be looking at those questions and mentioning them to me, and I will be answering them where I can throughout the presentation as well this evening. That's your option for participation today. In the event of any technological difficulties that are encountered, Mother Nature was very interesting to us on Monday and Tuesday this week, threw a wrinkle into our plans. Believe it or not, if you had children that were attempting to log in or were having some technological difficulties today, the gremlins were inside the machines and we had major interruptions today. Thankfully, everything appears to be running smoothly this evening. However, if something does interrupt the presentation tonight, we will be creating a new meeting link and posting it as quick as we can on any of our media channels to resume the presentation. If we can't get it working within that, of course, we'd be rescheduling this important information session for those in attendance today. And another important note, and it was asked in one of our questions already in our Q&A function, today's information session is being recorded and it will be shared publicly by the Peel District School Board. We'll have a link to it on our RLCP page. We will also have a link to it on the We Rise Together website, and on the board's YouTube channel it will eventually reside as well. So yes, it is being recorded this evening. Our agenda for tonight, we're already through the first item in introductions. I'll just review with our attendees this evening the communication plan and how we've been attempting to distribute information to our students, parents, and community regarding elementary RLCP programs for this upcoming application round. I will go over, I accidentally deleted elementary RLCP overview, and I'm going to go briefly over secondary for an important reason. I'll get into the details there with you as well. I'll review the application process and using our online application system, discuss options for financial support with our application fee or program fees, the self-identification process that we're currently using, and then of course there's going to be some time remaining for questions and answers through our chat functionality that I've mentioned previously. Many of you may be wondering, hey, what are these RLCP programs? Our Regional Learning Choices programs are really there to pique student interest. They empower students by providing an opportunity to develop and explore skills in a particular area that a student is interested in. Science, business, arts, activity and motion, healthy active living, just some examples that way. As we go through the presentation, I really strongly encourage you to think about how that presentation or that program, I should say, matches and fits with your student, not making your student fit that program. It's really about student interest and what could pique their learning and help them continue on in a chosen path for education. Our communications plan that we've been working on has been directed specifically to students in grade 5 and 6 during the school day on the night of information sessions, and I'll show you where the dates are for those if you haven't seen them already. Students have been able to see short little videos in their class that we're hoping would pique their interest, and they might actually come home with them and then say, hey, mom and dad, could we watch this parent information session on SciTech or IBT or IB tonight? So we're hoping that would drive some communication. So we've directly shared information with students. On our email system, we've been directly sharing information with families through emails. Brittany and our communications team has done a fantastic job notifying when the open houses are going on through our social media channels, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And of course, they're on our PDSP website and our RLCP elementary page. We've been, directly, Directly speaking with administrators, principals, and vice principals at elementary schools, ensuring that they're spreading the word and getting information out for us as much as we possibly can. Direct emails went to grade 5 teachers, ensuring that they were aware of what was happening with programs. I just spent some time working with our guidance team today, ensuring that things are ready for our elementary processes that start next week. Office staff are on our email so that they can spread information, put things on LCD screens in schools, on school websites. Our superintendents are aware of what's been going on. Of course, evidence and working with the We Rise Together Parent Advisory Committee to put on this night and informing things, working with the feeder schools and ethnic media online and print and English media at the same time, and trying to get information out for the elementary programs and the info nights that are going on. So that's what we've been working on for elementary RLCP programs this year as far as communications. What I wanted to let you know is that elementary RLCP programs exist in all of our areas from Brampton, Mississauga, and Caledon. We have 6 different regional learning choices programs, and I'll go through those with you this evening. These programs are open to all eligible students. All programs begin in grade 6. Except for one program, the arts program that is south of 401, which is at Queen Elizabeth School, starts actually in grade 7. So if you're looking at the arts program and you are south of the 401, you're ahead of the game. Your applications, really, if your student's currently in grade 5, do not get submitted until they're in grade 6, so a year ahead of schedule, which is fantastic. You've got some time to prep and get even more ready for the application process. So those are the basic areas of interest and grade of when they are available. Here's a list. I'll go through our website with you for elementary programming. Very quick list. We have Activity in Motion, arts programs, an arts and technology program, IB, or the International Baccalaureate Middle Years program, Peel designed International Business and Technology program, and SciTech. So those are our 6 elementary regional programs that I discussed in text on the previous slide. And we'll go examples for the schools and everything and show you all that information as we go through the information session this evening. Now, one thing to mention, yes, this is an elementary session. The elementary applications for grade 5 students do open on the 24th. You might be wondering, why is Greg putting up a secondary description? Really, this is more about information and planning ahead. Maybe you decide that RLCP programs aren't the option that you want for your student in grade 6 next year, but it doesn't mean you can't start planning ahead and getting ready for the potential of an RLCP option for high school. So just to let you know, the board offers 11 different secondary regional learning choice programs for high school. They again are spread in Brampton, Mississauga, and Caledon, and these programs are all open for students to apply into for grade 9. So really this is about building awareness and knowledge from grade 5 through to getting ready for grade 9. And as you go through our application process, you'll see where we pull report card grades and everything as part of the work that we do. So this is a good chance for you to talk to your students, get them ready for any potential applications, whether it is for this year elementary programs or for down the road when you're considering high school options. So very important that you look at those. So how do you get to our RLCP websites? By far, the easiest is simply to search for PDSB RLCP in whatever search engine you use. I'm going to do it shortly and show you how quick and easy it is. That's the best way. Of course, you can go to our website, go to programs, pathways, and then you can find elementary RLCP. That takes a little bit longer. Your fastest and quickest way is just search it in Google. I'll go through on our application page, the program descriptions, very brief overviews of what the programs actually are. I will show you some of the spotlight videos that students have been able to see in school, and maybe you've already looked and found them on our website. So you've also been able to watch them already. Just a brief example. That's a little bit loud on my end, so I apologize if it was very loud coming out of your speakers as well. The information night sessions that did start last week and have been going on, for instance, and Matt's scrambling because of the snow day on the 17th. We did have to change one of our information nights and reschedule it to the 20th at 7 p.m. That information's all on our website as well, so I'll show you that at the same time. So we'll show you some of the open house, virtual open house information sessions that run 45 minutes to an hour with full details of the site programs will be available for on-demand viewing whenever you need to look at them.
My name is Julie and I'm a grade 7 IB Bristol Road Middle School.
So all schools have definitely taken the time to prepare some really good materials for information. So you are fully aware of what those programs actually are. And I'll come back to this slide once I've had the opportunity to take you through our website first. So you should still be able to see my screen. I'm just double checking, everything's looking good. As I've mentioned, all you have to do is type RLCP. I do PDSB, I don't even think you have to. You will see the first link is for secondary. Those are our secondary high school programs. The second link down below is the quickest way to get you to our elementary regional learning choices programs website. As we click on there, this is the website. I'll go through these important dates as well. The very first thing we talk about and highlight is our application window, when it opens and when it closes. Further to that, I'll go over this information as well. There's our chat. I haven't had the opportunity to take a break and take a look at the questions that have been asked, and I will be taking a look at those, so not to worry. But if there's something that you see later and you go, oh, I wonder about this, I wish there's some way I can ask a quick question about it. There is the Google form that we've created. All that you have to do is click on that text link, and it's going to open up a questions for regional learning choices programs. Guess what? The form comes right to me on Mondays and Thursdays, starting tomorrow. I'll be answering everyone's questions as best as I possibly can to clarify our elementary RLCP programs for you. So I wanted to let you know that. Back to our website here. Our important dates, learn about the programs ongoing. The application window I mentioned is right here. What parents are very anxious about is when our first rounds offers go out, when we need the first round acceptances back by. We then have a second round of acceptances issued when we need the second round acceptances back, and then of course a waitlist procedure. So that is all provided for you there. Here is our information session for this evening, and the information that you require is right there. As I mentioned, we do have our 6 different programs. They are all listed in this table. Our first one, alphabetical order, is actively in motion at Royal Orchard. It's the AIM program. They have a link. You just have to click on it. It's going to open up in Google. You click play, and you get the opportunity at your own time, or you can actually watch the Royal Orchard AIM programs in spotlight video that would have been shown to students, or as a good information item for you at the same time. So that's available for you here. It has been our rescheduled event. So it is going at 7 p.m. on January the 20th, and the link to click the live Teams event is provided for you as well. So all the information is right there. And what you'll notice is, for example, the arts program, January the 20th, they go at 6 p.m. So on that evening, we've actually had to schedule 2 because of the snow day that occurred on Monday. The arts programs at Earnscliffe, which starts in grade 6, and the arts program, which starts in grade 7 at Queen Elizabeth Senior Public School. All their information is available there. Arts and technology, so on and so forth. I'll go through a bit more of those programs in a second. For your information, International Business and Technology, the IBT programs, they did go off on the 13th of January. When we have had the video sent to us, we are posting the on-demand info night presentation. So if you were not able to attend, guess what? You get your whole evening back, and you can watch the YouTube presentation at a sped up speed to save some time, whatever you require. But an on-demand video presentation is available for you. You get the principal talking, land acknowledgements. It's exactly everything that you needed for that presentation. So we do have on-demand viewing options will be presented for all our information nights as well. Program descriptions, they're very brief. They do not truly capture the essence, the spirit of the actual program. So it is important that you take a look at the information videos that have been used for the virtual information nights for sure. But they do go through the AIM program. It really focuses on healthy, active living, skill development, fitness and health, wellness, leadership, and character development. The AIM program runs, as I mentioned, at Royal Orchard Middle School. Our two arts programs, one in the north at Earnscliffe, one in the south at QE, is really talking about an integrated arts model that blends the different fields of art, music, drama, dance, and visual arts throughout the entire curriculum. I can speak to firsthand knowledge on this and a little bit about my family. I have 3 children myself. My oldest, who's actually in university, did consider at one point attending an RLCP program at Applewood Heights for secondary school, but we decided against that because of travel and distance and everything like that. My son, who's now in grade 12 of high school, he participated in the arts program at Queen Elizabeth. So he then proceeded on to regional arts strings at Port Credit, and he's now playing cello. So I have some personal experience that way. My youngest daughter, just in grade 9, has followed the footsteps of her brother, not for middle school, but for high school. She also ended up applying to and being accepted into the strings program at Port Credit. So as a parent, I can talk to you about some of your concerns if you want to ask, and just say in that Google form, hey, I attended the information session. Could you call me, or we can arrange a conversation just regarding any questions or concerns you may have just about impact of travel and things like that I'm not able to answer this evening. The real interesting program as well, all of these programs are interesting, I should say, but the arts and technology program is looking at design thinking, which is a very worthwhile skill when you get to high school and especially university and into the working world. Using design thinking, getting our citizens to tackle social justice issues as active citizens, and they really bring the curriculum to life through that model. So that's arts and technology at Morningstar Middle School. International Business and Technology program, the IBT program, runs currently at Alan A. Martin Senior Public School, Lisgar, and at Williams Parkway. So it is split up throughout our area. Field designed, influence on building business cases and examination of curriculum through that lens. So it's a very popular program as well. The International Baccalaureate programs at Bristol and WG Davis are IB certified programs fully, and they prep students for grades 6, 7, and 8. One thing to mention, if you are interested in IB programming, these are great options for middle school. You do not have to be in an IB program in middle school to apply to our IB programs in secondary. Just to be perfectly clear, it is not a prerequisite for secondary admittance. This is something that you're interested in, you think that your son or daughter would be interested in, then it's a reason to go for it, but not necessarily do you have to. And to make that point as well, and I do believe it comes up later in the presentation, IBT, which runs a middle school program and secondary, SciTech as well, the arts, these are not prerequisites. You do not have to be in a middle school program to apply and then be accepted into the secondary program. So just want to make sure everyone is perfectly clear about that. I'm just going to take a second right now as I get ready to, and the SciTech program, of course, I almost forgot. Another very popular program, 3 sites, Centennial Senior Public School. I was a vice principal at Brampton Centennial, so we always refer to Brampton Centennial as Big Centennial. In the middle school, we refer to as Little Centennial, but Centennial Senior Public School, Macville and Tompkin Road Middle School are our SciTech centers, and this is a focus on STEM technology, which is very important at this point in time, and a lot of inquiry-based learning that occurs and happens through the courses that are offered. I'm just going to take very quickly a look at my questions right now. The question about twins, I'm going to ask you to put that question into the form. It's a very particular question to answer, and I can do that better one-on-one and in person. Report cards are also asked about. If you're a Peel District School Board student, I'll get into the deals about that, but it happens automatically. It's out of board students that it operates a little bit differently. Students can apply to as many programs as they want. So if they want to apply to all 6, they apply to all 6. There is the application fee, and that varies from program to program that you would have to pay. Semester report cards, I'll address in a little bit. Semester report cards. I think I've answered the question that was proposed. One of them was, would a student be missing out on too much if they don't get into the middle school program when it comes into secondary school? Absolutely not. You don't have to worry about that whatsoever. Bus service we'll get into. It is not provided by the school board when it comes to RLCP programs, but I'll detail through that. The application process is pretty clear as we go through it. Take it into account if there are participation components, it's all done virtually, everything that way. So pretty standard operating procedure. We've almost unfortunately become more equipped as we went through it all virtually last year as well. How many programs? The fee details we'll get into as well as the presentation goes on. Differences between programs, as you really want to structure is, we'll go through this presentation, watch the information session, and this is a nice segue into the next slide of my presentation as I go back to it for you. We will give you some information this evening, but really, if you have questions, go to the school. They're the experts about their program. They will be the ones to give you the really good information. So call the school, ask your specific questions. They have staff, the office staff, the administration staff, the teachers involved with the program. They will call back regarding any specific questions that you have regarding this in the questions that were asked was talking about coding. So they will know the very particular items that way. We also, on our website, have a really good FAQ database that comes through experience and questions that we've been asked and keeping track of them. We cover questions on our self-identification process, the application process, questions that revolve out of first round, second round offers, how the wait lists operate, of course, acceptances and how that operates and works, and fees as well. Just to let you know, the FAQ is a good resource. We hope it answers a lot of your questions as well before you come to the Google form. I know when it came to secondary questions that we were asked were covered in the FAQ, so I went there for the answers, and it then frees me up to answer more difficult questions with our FAQs. So that's also available at the bottom of our RLCP website page. Here are our very important dates. I cannot tell you how important these dates and these times are. They are strict deadlines. Our application window will open on January the 24th at 8:30 in the morning. And you will be able to log in to the application. You have to register and create an account. And then then you associate the student with your account, and then the application commences at that point for each particular program. I will go through, and I have screen captures of a secondary program application. It operates the same way as an elementary one does. I don't have the test database working properly because we're working on something else right now. So it is secondary screen captures, not to worry. It is exactly the same application process for our elementary programs. The red box, sorry we're closed. I really need every parent, student, and guardian that's attending tonight that is fully intending to apply, that you see this date, February the 7th, 2022 at 3 p.m. That means our application window closes. It is pretty much a hard close date. Do not wait to the last minute. Please don't wait to the last minute to try to put your applications in. We have had situations where people have waited to the last minute, and sometimes people have missed the application deadline and then ask at 8 o'clock in the morning, on in this case, February the 8th, it could be, can we start an application now? And unfortunately, the answer is going to be no. You need to be in line with our application window. As we move into talking about our talking about our, sorry, I just lost my train of thought briefly, application process. I will go through some really tips and everything for you and how you can log in. You can save applications you started. You can go back in and edit them before you submit. We'll get into all those details as well. Just to make sure, a regional program, watch the videos. Given again where the application timelines are, 8:30 in the morning, 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Those times are very specific and we do stick to them. Your offers of when they come out for first round, when you have to give your acceptances by are included here. Second round, and then on April the 22nd is when it closes, and then we move to pulling students in out of the wait list. That goes right until the end of the school year, up until June the 28th at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, and then we close the application and admittance process for RLCP at that time. One important thing that I do need to point out as well, we need you, before you go in and submit your application and pick the school, you need to make sure that you know exactly which boundary you're in for that particular program. SciTech, IBT, it's not always a specific 401. A lot of the times it is, but it is going to be honored that way. So you may not want to go to IBT at Allen A. Martin, you would rather go to one of the other locations, but Allen A. Martin's in your catchment area. That is your IBT school. You're not able to actually apply there. The system, the way it's set up currently, it's going to let you apply there, but automatically it's going to recognize later on that you have applied to a school that you're out of boundaries for, and it is going to switch it to the school later on, and you might get a surprise. So please make sure you put the actual school that you are in the catchment area for on your application. So that is key. Right at the top of our application page, it uses the school locator link. The information is right there. You type in your street name, your number, it pulls it all up, and you can go through and see all the boundaries and what programs are available to you for grade 6, because you set all that particular information in there. A fourth grader is a question that I just happened out of the corner of my eye, does not apply this year. Fifth graders only for all our programs, and then sixth graders for the QE Arts program are the ones who are applying this school year. One important component, for programs where there is only one location and not multiple locations, the AIM program and the Arts and Technology program, those programs are actually open up to anybody in the board. There is no particular catchment area. So if you're in Clarkson and you want to take AIM, you can apply to the AIM program. No issue whatsoever. The Arts and Technology program at Morningstar, you can live anywhere in the board and you can apply to that program. Those same conditions exist for our one and only secondary programs as well. At the elementary regional choices learning page is where you're going to find our application. Brittany, who's on the call meeting with us tonight, can verify for you. I'll show you exactly right now where you're going to roughly see the link. I think it'll probably be in the same format right here near the top of the page, probably just down below in this area. I think it's going to be a blue button. Click here to apply. That is where you get into our application system. Come to the Regional Learning Choices program, click there, and it's going to take you right into the RLCP applications. This is the window that it looks like. It's not built into any other Parent Web or Parent Connect or School Messenger or anything. When you click on the link that's on the RLCP page, some of the schools may provide a link. That's fine. We always encourage you to come to the board website. The image on the left is a screen capture of the actual website. You create an account by clicking the button. Click here if you're applying for the first time. Maybe you've had another child or a student that you looked after has come through the system, you already have an account, then that's the account you use. But if this is the first time you're ever initiating an application for an RLCP program, then you create a new account. Log in below if you're a modified or existing application. Email is very specific. Make sure, and that actually counts for up here when you're applying for the first time. Make sure you've got the correct email address. Do not make a mistake by one character or it's going to throw a huge wrinkle into it for you. Make sure the email address you put on your application registration for an account is the correct email. Then if you already have registered, you come in here, you log in, my apologies, with the email and the password. Thankfully, from one year to the next, we don't honestly think you're going to remember your password, so you can get a forget password if you remember which email you signed up with the account. We all struggle with passwords these days, so we do our best with the Peel board to make sure that we have that backup for you. Just before I get into the application questions, I'm just going to very quickly pick up my questions here. As I see, I've got a few to answer, so give me 2 seconds. There's some particular questions about if they wish to pursue a math or a medical science degree or anything down the road, which particular program should the student apply for? These programs are really student interest based. And in middle school, yeah, maybe an IBT program, a sci-tech program, an IB program would work, but so would the arts and technology program and the arts program. This early on, it's really about nurturing a love of learning and getting the student engaged and feeling empowered in the learning. So any of the programs in middle school and even in high school are going to work in preparation for that. My daughter went to our local school, did very well at the local school, academically did well, engaged in extracurricular activities as well, all non-RLCP programs. She got into her choice of university, got very good acceptance scholarships and everything as well, all a non-RLCP student. So please make sure you're picking these because it's student interest based and it's in the moment and it's the right here and now, not just for what happens in university. Okay, so thank you very much for listening to that. As far as the program goes, we still have to teach the full curriculum. So if you're going to take IB, the IB still has to teach the Ontario curriculum. IBT teaches the full Ontario curriculum, same with Sci-Tech. It's an emphasis on science and technology, potentially even in your other subjects, whether it's English or art, you can have a science background and influence in there. And I've seen how that worked with my son in the arts program at QE. It was empowered and fused throughout the entire curriculum that way. French immersion is not an RLCP option. I'm just trying to think. My knowledge of a middle school French immersion schools isn't perfect. I'm going to give you a secondary example here to answer a question that I see in our chat. You can apply, for instance, to Applewood Heights, which is a French immersion school, as a French immersion student already, and you've been through the whole system. And if you want to take the RSP, which is the Sports and Leadership program at Applewood Heights, you can actually do French immersion and an RLCP program at Applewood Heights at the same time. It depends on what programs are run at each of those schools. Is there a test? Schools have participation components. There might be a question here or there. Pay attention to the information session and they'll detail information of what's going to be required. Once you do apply, you do your student response questions. I'll show you what the potential for those looks like in a bit. And once you've done your application, then the school will start contacting you through our regional learning programs module, and we'll notify you of participation events when they're coming up and things like that. The links that we have in our table will take you to the school websites. So that's where you can get all the phone numbers and everything right from those school websites. That's the best way to collect the numbers and everything there. That's a question that I have. Someone was asking, I basically have answered the question as well. Let's say you take IB, but you discovered I really enjoy visual arts more. There's no relation between what you took in elementary school or middle school RLCP and what secondary RLCP is. So you can definitely switch programs completely. I want to take sports in high school instead of Sci-Tech, or I took sports at AIM and now I want to take Sci-Tech. Any way that a student wants to do, that's perfectly fine. There's a question about what happens when you move programs. So you were north of the 401, you applied, you got into this program school, maybe you attended there for 1 year and now you've had to move. If you're inside Peel region, we will do whatever we possibly can to accommodate an RLCP change to, for instance, let's say you move from Mississauga to Brampton. So you move to Brampton, we will make sure spots available that we can get you a spot in subsequent years, grade 7 or grade 8, and usually spots do open up. I can't 100% definitively say that, but in 99.9% of the time we are able to accommodate address changes within Peel District School Board. Someone asked about the rounds of acceptance and when they go out, and I'm guessing this person might have some secondary experience. All our offers for elementary RLCP program go out at exactly the same time. So if you decide to pick all 6, well, I shouldn't say all exactly the same time, within a few hours of each other, because we are the ones pressing the random selection button and sending the offer letters out. So it does take a little bit of time for them to come through. But with by the end of that day when offers go out, if you that would be all the offers you're going to receive. If you applied to 5 schools and you got 4 offers, it's up to you to decide which one of those during the offer window that you're going to accept. Again, questions about how do I know which is best for my kid or my student? Look at all the information that's there. Talk to your student. Let them see the spotlight videos. See what they're interested in. Talk to them about what they would like. Student voice is the most powerful thing we can listen to in education. We're not always the best experts. Kids will tell us what they're interested in, and then we kind of go that route with them. So look at all the information sessions, call the school, listen to your student, watch the videos together. That's the best way to tell which program to really engage in. Just going through a couple more questions. I've answered a lot of these. Okay, back to our application. So you've entered your email address and password, and you need to create, you're going to create your parent guardian information. You hand enter all of this information in here. As I mentioned, very key and important, email. I shouldn't click, I should know that by now. The email and the confirm email, make sure it is the email address that you actually use. We've had lots of issues where you do that, you go in, you create the whole application, but it's been sent to an incorrect email address. Then we have to delete that. You have to go back in and do it all again. And there's days delayed as we sort through what happened and what goes on. So please check to make sure that you're entering the correct information. So you go through and you enter all that in the application screen. Then you start entering the student information, first name, last name. The self-identification process starts here. I think my next screen will show you what that looks like. I can't exactly remember. Date of birth, enter all this, email, everything comes up here. Right here is the important item. Please make sure you enter your student's Peel student number. In most cases, it's going to be a 6-digit number unless you applied and became part of the Peel District School Board in this past school year, and now you're a 7-digit, it starts 10. That's where you put that. And really that's going to drive the collection of, some people have asked about report card grades and learning skills and whatnot from there into our application system. So do check that information and make sure that student number is correct. We also take applications from outside of the board as well. We do only consider Peel students first, and then we go to outside of board second. You'll eventually pull up, again, I couldn't get into the elementary, so these are our secondary options, but what it would show you would be IBT, and it would list the 3 schools. Remember, before you click apply, you've used the school locator to make sure you know exactly the school that you're going to apply to. You then click on the apply button, and it jumps you to the student response questions. This is for AP. What is the most important thing you've learned in the past year? Please refer to the rubric on the advanced placement page of the school's website. Maximum word count is 250. So do pay attention. Sometimes it's 600 characters. That does include spaces at times. I've been through that with my son, and word counts as well. So that is important to take a notice with. These answers are important. They are scored as part of your application. So really it's the student and you're helping the student, but really the student has to drive this. Of course, you can help organize and make sure they get the right points in and everything that way. The good news out of this, you type in an answer or you say, I can't be expected to answer this question on the spot. That's okay. Type in something, press save. You can come back to it and change your answer at any point. You can actually go in and change your response and your answer even after you have submitted the application to that program. So even after you've pressed the submit button, you are still able to go back and make edits and alterations to your questions. Do note that once the applications close on the date that I've already mentioned at 3 p.m., you no longer can edit anything. So they do get locked at that point, but you've got lots of time. My advice is always, go in the very first day they open up. Look at the applications that you want to apply to. Take a look at the student response questions. There could be 3, 4, 1. They do alter from program to program. And then you can sit down with your child and they can really think about some quality responses. And then you can cut, copy, and paste into the application form at a later time. So it doesn't all have to be all in one shot, but do get in early, take a look what's there, get it done as soon as you possibly can. You can always go back and edit with your student after that point. People were asking about report cards. We do recognize with the turmoil that's happened, if you have secondary students, we realize as we wrap up our first semester, the impact that the online component had and the jump back to in-person learning and to snow days and everything tied into this. We recognize the impact is there for all our students in Peel District School Board. Peel District School Board's decided that we would still be looking at report card grades, but we look at a student's top 5 marks only. It doesn't matter if you're applying for IBT, we're looking at a student's top marks. It could be phys ed, arts, English, whatever you have to get to that top 5, and that's where those marks are going to be calculated from. We're really focusing on student strengths during this time and the best possible strengths they can offer. So we're looking at that. We also only pull the top 5 of 6 learning skills to assist and help with the student wherever we possibly can. As far as what we're looking at, we look at the grade 4 final and the grade 5 progress and term 1 report. If you're a Peel Board parent and student or guardian, all that information is automatically populated into our application system. There's nothing that you have to do. If you are going to be applying from out of our board, then there are going to be some considerations that you do have to contact the school, send in report cards. You'll have to do some uploading potentially as well in the application process. I should mention that as well. So there is an option to upload. If you're coming and you've got to upload everything, put it all in one document and then do the upload. Always the quickest and safest way. There is tech help for you. For technological issues with the application itself only, not for payment issues, not for questions about what the content is of the program or anything. That's stuff that you'd be using that Google form or calling the school for, or calling School Cash Online. But technical support with the application, we do have a number to our help desk with a specific instruction extension, I should say, so 7365. This is where it becomes even more imperative that you do not wait until the deadline to submit your application. An example this year, we had a ton of people that waited to the very end, and we did have some technological hiccups, and the help desk was overwhelmed for a day and it took a long time to catch up. I was answering as many of the tech questions as I could through our form that we were getting, but it becomes just a rush at the very end. So don't wait to the end, get it all done in the first week of the application window is the best advice I can give anybody. And then you avoid the crunch at the end and the stress and duress for the student and yourselves that nobody needs. So do make sure you get your applications in at a suitable time. People were asking in the chat, and I wasn't ignoring you, but I knew it was going to come out about the amount of fees and application. All regional programs do include a non-refundable application fee and an annual program fee for RLCP. Annual, you have to pay it every single year that the student is in the program. RLCP application fees range from $15 to $40. That information for what each school is charging is available in the information nights. So you have that information in advance. And also it does tell you when it comes time to pay. As you go through, we use School Cash Online. Payment actually occurs after you complete your application. A dialog window pops up. You close that dialog window and you go back to the main screen of the application system, and beside your application you will see a Pay Now button, so you can do that instantly. For out of board students who are applying to RLCP, it's very quick. Pay Now button does appear, so that's where you can find that information. We do provide assistance for students with their application fees. If you are applying, please contact your current school principal. So the school that you're currently at, go to your principal and go, sir or miss, I really need a little bit of support with my application for the RLCP program for grade 6. That principal will contact the RLCP school that you've applied to, and we'll make sure the financial assistance is provided for you. So that's the process for application fees. Program fees are $200. And they are paid next September when you're actually at the school. An item will come on School Cash Online and you will pay through there. There is one exception. International Baccalaureate program is $250 per annual charge and fee. Just to mention, those $200 is exactly the program fee for secondary as well. Grades 9 and 10 IB in high school is $250 as well. Pre-planning for you, grade 11 IB and grade 12 IB, because of the IB exams that start in grade 11 and run through grade 12, jumps substantially. Right now it's approximately $1,350 per year for grade 11 and 12 IB. AP, the advanced placement programs they run in secondary school, they have additional charges in grade 12 because you have to pay per exam that you decide to write for advanced placement. So there is some changes there. For assistance with the program fees, you don't have to do anything right now. You don't disclose and say, I'm going to need help in September with the program fee. That's no impact whatsoever on your application. You wait to September, the school cash notification comes out, contact the RLCP school that your son or daughter or student is currently attending, and then that will be arranged with that school principal. So we do offer financial assistance with the program fee and the application fee. Before I move on, I'm just going to check. Actually, I'll wait for the very end for those questions. I am mindful of time. I apologize. I am very verbose and talkative tonight, so my apologies that way. I mentioned it very quickly through one of the questions. Again, I can't say this enough. Transportation is not provided in students in our RLCP programs. There is one item, if you're attending an RLCP program at your neighborhood home school and you live outside of the transportation boundary, then you're going to get transportation, not because it's RLCP, because you would get transportation for your home school. So that's the only way that people are getting transportation to RLCP programs. The options that you do have available to you are parent-funded, privately arranged busing. So there's busing companies and they will arrange private bus routes. Some information does get passed around from parent groups and indirectly through the school, but we take no responsibility for that relationship. There can be some carpooling that's involved. I was the principal at Applewood Heights and ran the regional sports program there, and we did a lot of carpooling. And of course, Brampton Transit, My Way, in Mississauga, City Transit's an option as well. There is no school provided transportation for RLCP programs at this point in time. Our self-identification process. We used it last year. It was decided again that we still needed to see more improvement for our self-identified students to minimize and get rid of the disproportionalities that we're seeing in population and representation in our RLCP programs. So as part of the board's commitment to our equity and inclusion efforts and to address those disproportionalities and enrollment and equitable representation of African, Black, and Afro-Caribbean and First Nations, Inuit, and Métis students, the RLCP application form includes the new self-identification section. So you would self-identify in that drop-down in the application. When it comes through to schools, we only see that self-identification was yes or no. So that information is not shared directly with schools. And then as such, once you've self-identified, all African, Black, and Afro-Caribbean, First Nations, Inuit, and Métis students who have self-identified on the application form and meet the criteria for admission. It doesn't get altered. The student still has to meet and exceed that criteria that we've set, will be accepted into the program without participating in the random selection process. So that is how the self-identification process works for elementary RLCP and in fact secondary RLCP programs as well. I've mentioned this a couple times. Students who are applying to and get into an elementary regional learning choices program, if they happen to like it, they're interested in a secondary regional learning choices program, they're going to have to self-identify again. You have to apply again anyways, so that self-identification happened for elementary and it's going to happen again for secondary school. They're two completely different acceptance protocols that operate inside the program, so you have to do it twice. Question and answer. This is getting close to the end of the presentation. I'm going to return back to my questions that I have here tonight. Boundary questions, they are tied to the boundaries in the school locator. Whatever that school locator tells you is accurate, and that would be the school that you're tied to attending. Criteria for selection. Okay, so we do look, I went through the report card grades, that gets scored, and then the student responses get scored as well. And then depending on what program and attend the information sessions, they do tell you which participation component is happening and what's going to happen with it. That is also a criteria for selection. IBT, SciTech, all our programs that have multiple sites all have the same admission criteria and threshold. A student has to get over that threshold score to be considered for the random selection process, or if it's a self-identified student, they have to get over that threshold to be offered a spot in RLCP programs. The email that you enter is the parent email in the application, not the pdsb.net email for your student. Use the parent email, always the best application. For another twins question, if you could please use the Google form to ask that question, I will get directly in touch with you. It does vary slightly. Very interesting. Maybe it was secondary, but we had lots of twins questions this year, and now I've had 2 or 3 twins questions as well. Not to worry, we've dealt with situations like this. We can assist and help you there at the same time. Just a note about RLCP programs, they exist inside the school programs. They don't start any earlier and they don't end any later. So they operate on the natural schedule of the school. We do not have supplementary information as far as recommendation letters or anything like that, unfortunately, at this point in time. If you're a Peel Board student, again, as the reports come out, they will automatically get uploaded by us. You do not have to do it. Out of board students, we can work on getting the applications in and everything that way for you, potentially, even when we come into some situations where the applications have closed, we'll tag and notify and go, oh, we're missing something. We'll track and find that as well at times, wherever we possibly can. Our gifted programs, people are asking, we do have specific gifted sites. So if you're looking for that particular gifted program, you'd have to go there. But a student's IEP and some of those accommodations that do reside inside the IEP to support that student do transfer over, and they do come with them into the RLCP program. But the enrichment specific classes and extended classes aren't available as part of the RLCP programming. There's a question about RLCP schools in Caledon. We do have, I'll have to get the specific locations. Macville is up there. I'll have to look, my apology. I do have a geography degree, and right now I'm drawing a mental blank as the evening goes on here. I can definitely check into where those RLCP locations specifically are. And one note, really where RLCP programs first came from, and it's good to let everyone know this, we actually put RLCP programs in schools that were having low enrollment as a way to boost enrollment at schools to make sure that they were kept open and didn't have to close and so on and so forth. So really where they kind of started is where low enrollment schools were. That's where the location was found. And now we're starting to consider putting them in other areas in other district situations. So thank you very much. As far as, hey, we didn't like the program, can we leave? Absolutely. It's not a commitment for 3 years. You go into the program for the 1 year and you go, you know what, this really wasn't the cup of tea for my son or daughter. I would like to return to my neighborhood, my home school. Perfectly allowed to do that. That's the same thing that happens for secondary school as well. Grade 4 question. Definitely you're 1 year too early. You'll be doing your application next year. However, attending this session is probably the best thing you've done because now you've got a year ahead of next year's students in preparation and parents and everything like that. We do have a set amount of seats. I don't have that off the top of my head. It is in our application program. You can call that school and they will give you their seats. It's not something that's secret. You can also ask. I'll provide you with that information through the Google form. Not an issue whatsoever. Well, a question about regular school and RLCP. You go into the RCLP at the RLCP program, so you're going to get, as I think I've mentioned, all the curriculum you possibly need, plus the specific courses that are enhanced. This is a really interesting question. Private school and Peel student numbers. So if you were a previous Peel student, you would already have a Peel student number. It does, believe it or not, cause some issues later on. I would recommend that if you are out of board right now, do not put a previous Peel student number into our application system. I was troubleshooting with 3 or 4 parents for secondary, and I was trying to figure out what was going on, and it took me a little bit to trigger and go, wait a second, this is an out-of-board student. They have a Peel number. It does cause conflicts. So you just apply with an out-of-board student. That's perfectly fine as well. And I've got a secondary school question, but this is an elementary session. And some of them are dealing with some secondary issues. If you have asked about secondary programming, contact that school that you're specifically asking about, where your son or daughter or student was expecting to go. Call them. They'll provide all the information you possibly need. They probably know that information's coming from you or questions were going to come. So as far as question and answers, that's it for this evening. I've already mentioned at the top of our RLCP website, when you have questions later on this evening or the next couple weeks, go and use the Google form. I'll be directly in touch with you answering the questions as best as I possibly can. Again, I try to do them on Mondays and Thursdays as much as I can. Communications was very quick and got it up for me. I haven't answered Mondays. I'll be answering all of them tomorrow. One other option I wanted to bring up, this is not officially an RLCP program, but it's another program I look after, and I think it fits nicely with this information session for planning. We run the Peel Region High Performers Program, HPP. This high performers program is really more about flexible timetabling to accommodate student artists, performers, and athletes. That way, the elite training that you would go through for competitions, rehearsals, or if you have to go places for performances can be accommodated by that student. So again, that school. HPP is for all grades. So Britannia Public School, Dolphin Senior Public School, and Mississauga Secondary School run HPP programs. So if you have a high performing student in arts, music, dance, so on and so forth there, or athletes for whatever sport they're participating in, figure skating, soccer, hockey, baseball. The Peel Region High Performers Program is a second option that you can consider. On that image on the slide is the link that will take you to the elementary page, but there's also information about Mississauga Secondary School on the secondary page that you can go. So it's not a true RLCP program, but it is another pathway option to very similar function as an RLCP program site. So we are getting next to the end. I am 8 minutes over my time, so I do apologize for that. I am going to turn it mic back over to Danielle Dowdy. I'm going to just leave the screen as it is right now for her closing comments, and then I have a couple more slides afterwards. So we're almost wrapping up our evening. Danielle, whenever you're ready, closing comments, please.
Thanks, Greg. That was so informative. Really appreciate the presentation and the thoroughness. Thank you again to all the parents who joined us tonight. I really hope that you found this information helpful. This will be posted again. It's, as you know, it's recorded and the information will be available for you to go over. And we really hope that you are able to apply and that your students, that your children are able to get into the programs. We're really excited. We've seen an increase in applications from within the Black community, and we really want, and within the Indigenous community as well. And we just want to see these numbers keep, we want them to keep rising. So again, thank you again. Appreciate you all spending an hour and 10 minutes with us this evening. And thank you, Greg, for your thorough presentation.
Thank you very much, Danielle. Always my pleasure. One thing I would ask as a favor for anyone that's been in attendance, the best traction we've had with whether you want to call it advertising, but most importantly, raising awareness for RLCP programs for elementary. Our communications team does a fantastic job. Board emails, board website, board social media. When you're picking up our board tweets or posts on Facebook and Instagram or Twitter respectively, and tweet them to your own personal connection and audience, or take images and use them, please feel free to do so. Just spread the word as much as we possibly can about the potential and the possibilities and the pathway options that we do have available with Peel District School Board. So thank you very much, Danielle. The work that we're putting in, the time that parents and guardians are putting in does have an impact in student success at Peel District School Board School. So thank you so much, Danielle. Oh, I didn't mean to press that. Sorry. Period turns off my screen, I realized tonight. Just again, to get on the distribution list for any future We Rise Together Community Advisory Council information on our website, on the email invites, the link was there. I am just before I close this presentation this evening, I will be pasting in, where did it go? The URL for the entire slide deck. So you'll have access to this information far after this evening, and it will also be posted on our RLCP website for you at the same time. Thank you so much for attending. We do have an active We Rise email address for you. The Twitter account is there. The We Rise website information is going to be posted there at the same time. Our RLCP website is 24/7 on-demand videos and information for you to find out about the RLCP programs. So thank you so much for attending this evening. And just don't yet. Hold on one second. We'll get Danielle, and don't leave, because in the announcements, I will post the URL if you wanted the document right away. Go ahead, Danielle.
Sorry, I totally wanted to mention that Trustee McDonald is on the line, and we just really wanted to thank her for all of the support and the push that she's done around this program and spreading the word. And we're really happy to have her join us this evening. I know she wasn't, she's been in a pile of meetings, and we didn't have her say any words, but I just wanted to thank her for joining us this evening and for supporting this initiative in particular.
I can echo those same statements as well, Danielle. I know when I presented the board report on September the 30th, Trustee McDonald asked some very pivotal questions as well. So always advocating for students, families, parents, and groups in her community, always greatly appreciated. If I could really quickly figure out how I could invite her and get her as a presenter right now, I'd turn it on, but somehow I have a feeling this late at night, I would do something that would ruin the entire presentation. So I might avoid that right now. Kathy, my apologies, but thank you so much for attending the session this evening, and I echo those statements of Danielle. That's it for this evening. I am very shortly, in the next couple of minutes, going to be ending the presentation for you. Greatly appreciate everyone's evening. I know dinners were interrupted potentially, maybe with our lockdown, not as much parent community involvement activities going on, but the outside is waiting, and snow and ice and whatever else. So thank you for attending the session this evening. Take good care of yourselves and everyone in your family and friend and community groups. And we really hope to see applications for your students coming through for a Regional Learning Choices program elementary during our application window. Take good care. Have a fantastic evening and a great ending to your week. Take care.